My biggest takeaway, ironically, was from Steve Sims. For every time that you don't ask, the answer is no. Mm-hmm. And I've heard that in like the Wayne Gretzky quote before, but there was something about that frame of really recognizing how many places where I'm not just asking for what I want. And I vision a lot, dream a lot, like write down the desires, and oftentimes think for me, a lot of them just show up, but practicing that muscle of just asking more.
What do you want right now? Think about it. Pause. Based on what you just thought of, what if you told that to your family, friends, and loved ones? Would any of them tell you, that's impossible, or no way you can do that? Often your wants, your desires, your dreams, as well as your goals are viewed as impossible. They just can't be done or achieved. Yet, what if there was one word that could help get you almost anything you wanted? The good news for you is that there is, and Steve Sims has found it. Not only has Steve found it, he has used it, he has proved it works, and it can work for you too. Steve has been called the real Wizard of Oz because he has made so many amazing things happen that people are just amazed. I've asked him to build his message around one of those experiences that he created for a client. It's not going to see the Titanic in a private submarine, hanging out with Sir Elton John at his Oscar party, walking down the red carpet, or playing on stage with a world-famous band, all of which Steve has done for his many clients. Steve is originally from London, worked as a bricklayer and a bar bouncer. Today, he is a best-selling author, an in-demand speaker, a coach, a mastermind leader, and a friend of the rich, famous, and most powerful people on earth, all because of that one word. Steve's title is One Word, How You Can Get Anything You Want in Life. Please help me welcome the author of Bluefishing, Steve Sims.
So it was about 7 years ago since the last time I was on this stage, and there's still no whiskey in the green room. It's not an addiction, Joe, it's a choice. So I want to go back to Sunday, the 28th of September 2014. I was in the garden of the Hotel de Russi in Rome, and I was working on a project for a client of mine. And at that event, I get a phone call from a client. And he says, Steve, I know you're in Italy, and I want you to do something for me. I'm going to be in Florence on this Wednesday. I'm going to take in my fiancée, her mother and father, and a friend. I need you to sort out a fantastic dining experience for me, something wonderful to show us how creative, connected, and powerful I am. Can you do it? Absolutely. That was on Sunday. So on Monday, jump on the train, go down to Florence. How many people here have been to Florence? Beautiful place, isn't it? And you know how small it is. It's a tiny place, steeped in history, but real tiny. Wednesday night comes along, 9 o'clock in the evening, and a white horse-drawn carriage pulls up outside the Savoy Hotel in the main Republic Square. My clients come out, jump into this carriage, start clip-clopping around the cobbled stones of Florence, over Ponte Vecchio, past the Uffizi, Palazzo de Vecchio, Diamo, up a side street. All of a sudden, they come up to these two big wooden doors. And my client goes, stop! He jumps out of the carriage, runs up to these two big doors, bang, 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 starts hitting these doors. 9 o'clock at night. You don't go to Florence to get drunk and have a wild time. Place starts going to sleep about 8:30 at night. And he's bang, 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 starts hitting this door. His fiancée says, hey, you wake people up, you don't need to do that. He says, look, babe, you don't realize, in here is Michelangelo's David. Now, we go back tomorrow, but I'm wondering, hitting this door, maybe security, a cleaner, they'll open up the door, I can slip them 10 grand, and they'll let us wander around David before we fly back tomorrow. Bang, 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 goes on it again. Mother-in-law and father-in-law are thinking, we've got a psychopath coming into the family. Still going, and all of a sudden, the doors crack. The doors open up, and there's a carpet that leads all the way down the corridor to the feet of David. And at the bottom of David is a table of 6 that I've set up for them to have dinner at the feet of Michelangelo's David. Can you imagine how beautiful that is? You don't really have to, because it looks as if this fucking thing works. It looks like that. As they say, if there wasn't a picture, it didn't happen. It did. That was the table I set up. Now, of course, if you're going to have a dinner party, you need a bit of entertainment, don't you? You're in Italy, so what do? You get Andrea Bocelli to come home to serenade them while they're chewing their pasta. That's what we did. And it was a fantastic night. It was absolutely brilliant. But you know, it was a pivotal moment in my career and in my life and in my mindset. Because a lot of people know I pulled that off, but a lot of people don't know the story that I'm about to share with you, geniuses, now. You see, on Monday, I went down on the train. I made some phone calls. As Joe said, you know, I know a few powerful people. When you're in a room full of powerful people, powerful things happen. And I knew people that could get me into the places I needed. So I had the Accademia de Galleria closed down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to allow me to set up that dinner party. And once I'd gone all through the formalities of drinking too much espresso and shaking hands and all that shit, they passed me over to this curator and they said, hey, we're going to make this a fantastic night. He's going to look after you. Anything you need, you just ask him. He's going to get it sorted for you. I said, oh, that's fantastic. And I'm thinking, this is smooth. And this has only taken me half a day, and I got an entire museum shut down. So I'm pretty full of myself by now. So I turned around to him and I said, okay, we've got the chef. The chef's going to pull up all his gear. We're going to need the side doors opened up at 6:30 so he can start tugging in all of his gear. He's going to set up in the courtyard, 6:30. That'll be all right, won't it? And he went, should be okay. All right. And a piano's coming in that Andrea's son's going to be playing that night. That's going to come in the back door. So, you know, about 7 o'clock, make sure security there, back door open, piano in. We okay with that? See what I can do. All right. And Andrea's turning up at about 7:30. So I need to make sure that the front door's opened up, the minivan turns up, security is tight for Andrea to get in before anybody knows that Andrea's coming into this thing. Because if you're in Italy, it's Andrea and the Pope. So we didn't want a crowd outside. And he looked at me and he went, it shouldn't be a problem. I'm getting a little bit pissed off by this. So, come the night, I'm sat there, chatting away to Veronica, and the piano is to the left-hand side of David, and it starts moving around. Move it around, retune it. Andrea's checking out his tonsils, making sure it sounds good, trying to get the best reverb possible in a room full of marble. Wasn't exactly the smartest place for that. But he's doing this, and I'm stood there with Veronica Bocelli. That's Veronica's to the left. That's me to the right, if you were confused. And all of a sudden, I look over to my right, and the curator, all coiffed, jacket, waistcoat, pocket square, on the right-hand side, just leaning up against the wall. Thing's about 5'10", maybe about 140-pound wet. Tiny little Italian. Now, I want to get something out in the open now. I'm an immature prick. Get it out there, you know? Never been accused of being mature. But this guy had annoyed me. And I thought, I'm going to teach him a lesson. I'm going to give him a London slap. I'm going to show him that he needs to treat people a bit better. So I went, hey, Luigi, come here. His name wasn't Luigi. So he wanders over, stands next to me. I looked down at him, and I went, what do you think of that table? Good? He's like, it is magnificent. It is beautiful. It is amazing. I said, look at the view. You're about to have dinner, and that's your view. Can it get any better than that? No, it is magical. It is phenomenal. It is wonderful. That's an Italian accent, by the way. And I said, well, look, call yourself. You're having that meal with that view, and Andrea Bocelli is going to serenade you while you're chewing your meatballs. Can it get any better than that? I said, no, it is incredible. It is wonderful. So I went, so, let me understand this. How come I pulled it off? And this is where I was expecting something like, well, no one's as connected as you, Steve. No one's as smooth. No one's as good looking. Any of those would have pandered to my ego enough, and I'd have been fine. But he looks at me and he went, no one's ever asked. And I stood there. Fuck. Literally just crumpled. I stood up to see this little Italian fella just smiling at me. He knew he had got me. Now, we went out that night, we drank, we ate, we had a good time, and the guy's been a dear friend of mine ever since. Jokingly, I still refer to him as Luigi, and it's not. But the guy's absolutely lovely. But that moment, I realized I asked for what I got. Now, I had to go back up to Rome, do a little bit there, fly back to LA. I used this as a moment. For the next 3 to 6 months, I contacted all of the people that I had dealt with. You know, rock stars, business icons, anything that I'd pulled off, rock bands, anyone. And I got, hey, do you remember we did this? Oh, God, what was it, 3 years ago? I made them ask you, how come we pulled this off? How come I got the walk-on roll on Mission Impossible? How come I got down to the Titanic? How come you let me get away with that? Not even a variation. They all responded with the exact same answer. You asked. That was it. See, I realized I got a no for every question I didn't ask. Now, there's a good dysfunctional friend of mine called Joe Polish that actually said, the definition of hell is to meet the man or woman that you could have been. And I remember when he said that to me, and it stopped me in my tracks. Now, for the next 2.5 days, on this stage, you are going to hear from some amazing speakers. A couple of ropey ones, but predominantly good ones, who are going to challenge you to think differently, do differently, and be something better than normal. Me, I'm challenging you to ask. Ask more of your relationships. Ask more of your family. Ask more of those you do business with. Ask more of yourself. The bottom line of it is, you get somewhere when you ask. And if you're concerned and feel a bit terrified about asking that word, think back to this moment. And think, do you remember that ugly British fella that was up on stage? Fuck, if he can do it, I can. And you're already out of excuses. My name's Steve Sims, and I'll see you at the bar. So good. Thank you. Thank you.